martyrdom for which I was to blame, for until my prodigal return, she had been the presumptive heir to our little queendom. Her assistant, Chloe Strauss, sat on her other side. Chloe was an Eastern cultivar of the West Coast Valley girl, dressed in a short, swingy skirt and one of those baby doll shirts all the girls wear these days. Opposite her sat Jean-Paul Devereaux, our intern and resident hipster. Beneath his sports jacket, his t-shirt read, "Eternity, when will it end?" 22 years old and fresh out of college, Jean-Paul was a tall young man, possessed of such extravagant good looks that our best-selling client, Rowena Blair, had asked him to pose for the cover of her latest blockbuster, an offer he had declined. He had dark eyes, olive skin, and luxuriant black curls. Chloe, 2 years older, was pale, blonde, and petite, and I thought they'd make a pretty couple, but Jean-Paul never paid the poor girl any attention. Lorna Mulligan backed into the office, clutching a loaded tray in plump, efficient hands. Today she wore a boxy white blouse and a plaid skirt, a parochial school outfit that added 15 pounds to her not insubstantial frame. Although Lorna was my secretary, she scorned the title assistant. It wasn't actually her job to make coffee. Office policy was that whoever finishes one pot makes the next. It lent an egalitarian gloss to the agency, though of course the distribution of profits was anything but. Still, Lorna had herself taken on the task of fueling our monthly conferences. She distributed the mugs and handed around a box of donuts. I took my favorite, lemon-filled, a little tartness to balance the sweet. Harriet, as always, chose the old-fashioned donut with no cream or glaze, then looked enviously at mine. Chloe passed, and Jean-Paul took 2. Lorna never ate any herself, though she must have had a sweet tooth. She took her coffee with 4 sugars. Now she seated herself at the foot of the table and opened her notebook. We began, as usual, with the hopeless cases. Other literary agencies don't bother keeping notes on rejects, because office time is better spent serving actual clients than discussing those we'd rejected. But Molly had always kept records, saying that sooner or later every agent overlooks a great book, and when it happened in her shop, she wanted to know whom to torture. After she retired, I kept up the tradition. Eventually I'd put my own stamp on the agency, and these meetings would be the first things to go, but for now I preferred to follow closely in my mentor's size 9 footsteps. Jean-Paul and Chloe took turns reading out titles, explaining in a sentence or two, sometimes from the work in question, why they recommended rejecting it. They were our first readers of all unsolicited submissions, and most often they were the last. Chloe opened with a book called The Autobiography of a Nobody. The title says it all. Then Jean-Paul, The Secret Life of Gerbils. You don't want to know. Oh, but I do, Chloe said. Is it kinky? If you're into rodents. Speaking of gross, my nomination for submission of the month, To Pee or Not to Pee, by Dr. Wanamaker. Even Lorna the Doer laughed. You made that up, Harriet said. I swear on my mother's urethra, Chloe said. And so it went, with much joking and laughter for another couple of hours, by which time we had disposed of the hopes and dreams of scores of aspiring authors. Outsiders listening in would have thought us heartless, but outsiders never had to wade through a literary agent's slush pile, which for people who love literature and language is as much fun as vivisection is for animal lovers. My thoughts wandered. I looked around my office, thought about redecorating, and decided once again against it. I'd kept all of Molly's furniture, even her desk chair, which was too big for me, because it made me feel as if she hadn't entirely left.